and you can observe it and you can say, yes, that is fucktarded. The only reason why he's chasing the heroin is because he has a innate, unsatisfiable, unmitigatable drive and desire and attachment to the substance. And that attachment didn't need to exist because there's nothing inherently valuable about the heroin. And that the price he's paying for his moment of satisfaction is way too high because he's mugging people for money, and he's destroying his own physical health. He's going through many hours of misery to gain that moment of satisfaction. You can make a reasonable judgment that that person is a fucktard. He is mentally crippled. He is broken. He can't fucking rationally assess his own dismal horror. You stupid fuck. And somebody can apply the same equation to the human race and say that, yes, we've caused more pain than we've acquired gain.
It's contradictory to your entire argument against other people, and it's nonsensical. And you can keep saying we're phantasmagoricals and keep saying that we're part of the disease and part of the addiction, but all you're doing is the same thing on the opposite end.
I'm sorry. No, I've explained why it is idiotic for some asshole like you to just say, well, on balance, I think it all works out. Or on balance, I think the human race is done good, not bad. That it's running, you know, that it has a surplus, not a deficit. Because I'm just going to make it up. Because I'm just going to assume nature knows what it's doing. Even though nature's just chemical reactions, I'm going to assume the chemical reactions are infinitely wise, and that they know, yes, the heroin is worth chasing. The addiction is worth having. This illusion of accomplishment is somehow real. Yeah, sure. You've supported that with what rational, logical argument? So where is your God? Where is your intelligence? Where is your wisdom in the fucking universe? Point to the source or where this wisdom could possibly come from in this cause and effect universe, that it somehow knows that human beings are kick-ass. Okay, that yeah, they should have existed, they need to exist, they're accomplishing something, they're going somewhere, they're going to do something better than a Tyrannosaurus. Go ahead, demonstrate that fucking logic.
We don't claim to have some kind of truth, though. That's the difference. We recognize that our arguments are coming via subjective inference. Well, there is pain, there is good, but, you know, the conglomerate...
There's no point in you saying there is pain and there is good when you don't concede there is those such things. You're saying people can't intellectually argue the existence of those things, so why say there is those things when you won't allow people to argue the implications of those things?
Is perhaps neutrality. Maybe the conglomerate is good. Maybe it is. Maybe the billions of people who are enjoying themselves counter the billions of people who are not enjoying themselves, and maybe 51% overdo it, and they're happier more than they are sad. As if that mattered. Again, that's another value judgment, that we need to sustain what is good.
Yeah, like it mattered. I mean, that's the stupid part of this. Of course it matters. I mean, whether or not something has minimal efficiency is what defines its functionality. I mean, if I have a machine and the machine produces something of value, and let's say the value of what it produces is $2, but it consumes $10 worth of gasoline to produce the $2. Well, then obviously I wouldn't sit there and say, hey, great machine, let's build more of them, it's doing a great job. No, I would say, fucktarded machines, stupid business, don't get into it, don't make these fucking machines no more, they're a fucking disaster. It's a real fucking dilemma. This is a real circumstance that we are in. This is a conversation that needs to take place. And you dismissive assholes with your simplistic, well, I think nature knows what it's doing, or I think the world came out the way it's supposed to come out. It's fucktarded, idiotic, and it's worse. It's more ignorant than religion, because at least religion has the excuse that most religions were formed in a period of time where human beings were ignorant of the fucking goddamn world. You're not ignorant anymore. You have a huge knowledge base, and what are you doing? You're contriving an excuse to run to an ignorant position. To a position where, no, I'm not going to take accountability for what I'm saying and believing. Instead, I'm not going to argue it, okay? I'm just going to disqualify the argument by saying, no, it has no relevant objective meaning. There's no premise from which we can argue this shit. Of course there's a premise. Suffering fucking matters. Suffering has real negative fucking weight in the universe. Not a difficult premise. Pretty fucking fundamental.
good and get rid of what is bad. All these things are value judgments. And while many will perhaps agree with you, the point is that it hasn't been objectively verified in any way, shape, or form. And
nothing's been objectively verified in any shape, way, or form by your fucking standards. So there's no conversation to have about anything on this fucking planet by this bullshit that's coming out of your mouth. I mean, certainly I could argue that water is wet because the word wet was used to describe what water is. And certainly I could argue that the word pain and suffering and misery and horror are negative because we've described them that way. That's how we defined them. That's why we gave them words and the words have had, from their very inception, from the day the word existed, this negative qualification. And so you want to just undo all that and say, no, that's just subjective bullshit. So then everything is subjective bullshit. So there's no point in having a conversation. So fuck you. We have nothing to say to each other because you won't accept the most obvious fucking premise of an argument. All right, if you want to believe that we're all living in some kind of bottle that some alien owns on some distant planet, and or some other kind of bullshit that I can't disprove, some god I can't disprove the existence of, you want to believe in that, that's your fucking business. But I have no obligation to respect your position or to try or even attempt to have conversation with you because you're a fucking idiot.
Further proof is that every time you're asked to objectively verify the commentary, you either admit that you can't do it, or you get really mad and say that everyone who's trying to get you to admit or to prove this is just, they're too dumb and they're not on your level, and as a result, because they're on your level, you can't deal with them. So if you can't agree on this...
That's not what I've argued. What I've argued is, yeah, you're obviously just copping out of the discussion. You're using some bogus bullshit argument that has nothing to do with the reality of every fucking thing we talk about is based on a premise. I've defined the fucking premise. If you say you don't accept the premise, then fine. There's no fucking conversation to be had about any fucking thing. I don't want to discuss fucking flavors of Kool-Aid with somebody who doesn't understand that suffering matters. If you don't understand that, we have nothing, absolutely nothing to say to each other.
It's your most common statement. If we can't agree on this much, it's a premise. It's a premise. If we can't agree on this premise, then the argument's over. The argument's over, Gary, because you can't prove it, not because we can't agree on the premise. We can't agree.
Again, prove what? If I have to prove that suffering is qualitatively bad, okay, especially in the extreme cases, if that needs proving to you, again, I can't say it any simpler. Then we are two different forms of life. We are two intelligence, the gap, the ocean, the void between us is too distant. We don't speak any common language words because now no words mean anything. If suffering isn't negative, then you might as well throw out every fucking word in the vocabulary because it means absolutely nothing. Because you have cut the balls off the word that means more than any other word in our fucking vocabulary. I can't say it any more explicitly. I will not waste my time talking to someone who can't figure out the motherfucking obvious.
Because you have no verification for that premise.
Okay, so that's enough of that. So anyway, yeah, well, look, the whole point is you can't have a conversation. So we were engaged in a conversation. We were attempting to weigh these values, to put things on the scale and try to figure out, well, yeah, what is a satisfied desire worth? What is somebody dying of smallpox worth? What are these things and how much do they weigh? And the conversation was ended. It was destroyed. It was ruined by this motherfucking fucktard. Okay, because he wanted to now apply some kind of proof standard. Where now all of a sudden we had to prove the premise of the conversation. So we had built we were walking up the 5th or 7th stair of the staircase, trying to get to some kind of rational, perceptual qualification of what life was, and this asshole basically said, no, you're going back to the bottom of the staircase. I'm not going to let you climb this staircase. This staircase is verboten. Alright, and that's why this motherfucker can go to he can shove his fucking stupid fucking shit head back up his shitty ass, because that's where it belongs. He's a fucking idiot. He destroys intellectual conversation. He has no respect for what it takes to have a conversation, to elevate it to some fucking useful point. Instead, he just disengages it all, so then he can validate his bullshit premise, which is everything's just fine, don't worry, be happy. I mean, fuck you. And fuck every one of you motherfuckers in the comments. Fuck you. The end of this video. Till next time. Fuckers. Useless fucking pieces of shit fuckers. Fucking, you're not even the garbage in the garbage can, you're that fucking residue, that fucking garbage can resin. That's what you fuckers are. Fucking smelly, skanky pieces of fucking stupid motherfucking shit. I mean, you're fucking shit on a Christian's fucking shit shoe. Fucking stupid phantasmagorical. I'm gonna make up a religion. The religion of nature knows what it's doing. You fuckers.